Welcome to the Mind Mastering Podcast with your host, Asnate. Let's explore the path to mastering our minds on and off the athletic field. Welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce you to one of my former national team players, Sabine. We both played in Latvia for youth national teams. And actually we were opponents here in Canada. We both played for universities. And a funny thing is that University of Saskatchewan that you played for, that was one of my last calls to make before I committed to Canadian University. So it was either University of Saskatchewan or University of Lethbridge. So we almost became teammates.
Almost.
But thanks so much for joining me. I actually want to talk to you about your experience in Canada. But before we get there, tell me at what age you started playing basketball in Latvia.
Oh my God. First time probably I picked up the ball when I was age of 3 because my oldest brothers played basketball, so they kind of introduced me to that. Sports school I started around age 6, first grade, and from then on. Now I've been off for 3 years now playing, but yeah.
And you played in Ventspils. You are from Ventspils, so it's a different part in Latvia. When did you move to Riga, and why did you have to move to Riga?
Ooh, getting in deep. Okay. So I actually decided to move to Riga because I got bullied in my school and within my team, basketball team in Ventspils. I just wasn't having a good time anymore, and I knew that I want to play basketball, so that was like my priority at that point. At that time, I was like age 11, but I moved to Riga when I was 13 to start playing in Ridzene.
13, and your family stayed in Ventspils, or did they move with you?
Yeah, I moved alone.
At age 13, that's a big move.
Yeah, it definitely was.
How was transitioning, at such a young age to a different city where you don't have your parents next to you helping you and everything?
So first year I lived in residency, just women-only residency. So there was curfew and like we were not allowed to go out past 10. We were not allowed to do like a lot of stuff. So there was like definitely some structure that we had to get used to. And I had to get used to like having a roommate 24/7 as well. But I don't know, you kind of adjust. Like I made the decision that I wanted to move and I wanted to play. So that really determined for me to like be there and do whatever I have to.
And that probably made you to mature much quickly. At age 13, moving on your own, that puts you in a different place.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like starting to do your own laundry and cook for yourself and wake yourself up to go to school and stay on with like all your homeworks and everything. So it definitely like makes you grow up.
Do you think that helped you in basketball career, that maturity and responsibility?
Hard to say. I think because of that, I might have lost like earlier the fun out of playing basketball because I had to grow up so early. So like it was tougher. I put so much more pressure on myself playing than like I feel if I would be with my parents still.
And were your parents pushy, like in basketball? Were they, I don't know, commenting about your games all the time or play style?
Oh, my dad was definitely, yeah. He was an athlete himself and like highly achieved, so he always pushed me to be and like kind of be at the same level that he was, but I don't think he fully realized how much that like makes me put pressure on myself, and I was hard on myself already, so it wasn't really helping.
Did you have any coping strategies at that time? Like how did you deal with that pressure?
I definitely did not have any good coping strategies. I more went to like punishments, like doing more workouts or like not eating. So like not in a healthy way, that's for sure.
And so moving from Venice to Riga, did it help like to move away from that toxic environment and bullying? Was it a good move?
First year was kind of tough. When I lived in residency,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that that was my kind of team when I was still in, even don't know what it was named at that point, seven something.
47, like school
Yeah.
number 47.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, but when in my second year, when I moved to Ridzene, I definitely
Mm-hmm.
like fell in love with all of my teammates, and I loved my coach at that point, and it definitely changed like my perspective, and like it helped to like raise my self-esteem and like fell in love with
Mm-hmm.
basketball again.
Well, one I can tell for sure, once you joined Reed, they became way better and stronger. So you were a good addition to the team. And similarly, so after high school and everything, you started playing pro, correct?
I started actually playing with that when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at that point, I was already living in an apartment actually with Liga Shurkusa,
Mm-hmm.
because she was playing for the team. And so I was still actually in high school, yeah, when I started playing pro, but I didn't do the morning practices. I just did the evenings.
So for how many, so now we're gonna transition into you moving to Canada, but you played pro before you moved to Canada. So
Yeah.
why such a move? Like, how did you even get to know about this and why you made this decision?
So after graduated high school, I went to Lithuania for 3 years to play professionally. I loved my second year. It was really successful. And in my third year, I had the same coach, almost the same team, couple of new teammates. But unfortunately, my coach got really rude and it just like wasn't fun anymore playing. It was like do or die. Like you make a
Mm,
mistake, you're out, like you're a bench player. Like there was no like he wasn't helping anybody grow as a player, and it was like really tough where like he was such a good coach in my second year. So it was like really unfortunately change. And at that point I was like, I'm quitting for real and I'm not playing anymore, or I look for a change. And that's when
mm-hmm,
I started looking into Canada because I had my opinion about states and I really didn't want to go to states. So
mm-hmm.
then I started looking into Canada.
So you looked yourself up, like how to get there? How did you know about universities and everything?
So I literally just Googled teams
Mm,
in Canada,
that's
women's basketball
amazing.
teams in Canada, and then actually like a website popped up that had all like junior national teams or national team coaches on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I just sent all of them the same email out to see if
Nice.
like there's any chance.
I did exactly the same thing
Yeah.
moving from the States to Canada. I just sent my emails to coaches. But one difference between Canada and US is that you can't play in US if you played pro already. Like they're super strict there. But
Yeah.
in Canada, it's not such a rule. And there isn't really an age limit,
Yeah.
right? I think you can go like even if you're 30 years old, you can go to Canada and
Yeah.
play. This is perfect because if anyone is playing professionally in Europe or they don't know where to go, they have an opportunity to play at a high level and still get their education.
Yeah.
So, what did you study in? What did you finish? What's your degree in Canada in University of Saskatchewan?
Major in psychology and minor in women gender studies.
Oh yeah, good job. So another difference between US and Canada is that Canada, to my knowledge, they don't pay for your like living costs or they don't give you money as a pocket money. So what was your story? Did they pay for your school? Did they pay for anything else? How did you survive?
So in my first year, technically, I came down with a boyfriend at that time. So
Mm.
more or less, he supported me for the first year of our relationship in Canada, but everything else was covered.
Mm-hmm. Like
Yeah.
food as well, or just like
No, so like schooling and stuff like that was covered.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Same thing for me. Like in Canada, they just pay for your school
Yeah.
and books, whatever you need. But basically, everything else you have to worry about
Yeah.
yourself. That's something for people to keep in mind. I know that you can work as well, but just
Yeah.
like part-time as a student, as an
Yeah,
international
24
student.
hours in the 2 week span, yeah.
Did you work?
Yeah, I worked actually in university in a fitness gym the entire time while I was there.
And so after the first year, how was that? Did you just, were you still together with that boyfriend?
No, we actually separated after our first year, and then I just had to support myself. So I just worked full time entire summer, and that was
Mm-hmm.
like kind of my meal money, my rent money, and then
Mm-hmm.
I kept up with like food money, just like working the 24 hours like in the gym with doing
Mm-hmm.
school and sports. So
Well, for those who haven't heard, but I have to tell them that you were, if not the best, then one of the best players in the league in Canada. You had a very successful career there. Wouldn't you agree with me?
yeah, I would agree. It definitely went much better than like playing in Europe.
If you had to compare playing professionally or like playing in Canada, for example, at the high level in university, what's the difference? Like maybe coaching style or like what did you enjoy? What did you like about that environment?
Oh, first year was like really interesting, I think. Coming from professional basketball where like you come to practice, like there is no making friends. Like you come, you
Mm-hmm.
play, you show your best, you fight for your spot. Where like I found that like coming here and playing in Canada, I was always like, oh, let's have fun. Like, let's have fun in a practice and like let's get ready for this weekend. It'll be so great. And I was like, how do like that's not how basketball works. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not fun. Like, it's job. I came to do my job. So like I was definitely like really serious like in my first year of Canada. And like my teammates didn't understand that, my coach didn't understand that, so we definitely like were butting heads because I was like, I didn't come here to have fun. I came here to get my education and like
Mm-hmm.
prove that I can play.
Mm.
So it
And
was
they
like
they
really
didn't like
different.
that. Your coaches
No,
didn't.
they
Yeah.
were really scared of me and they thought that I don't like them because I wasn't smiling enough and I wasn't
Well, we know
saying, "Hey, how are
that.
you?" every 5 minutes.
Yeah. But they often say about Europeans, oh, like I don't know, poker face or
Yeah.
why are you not happy? It's just our fates, Europeans, genetics.
I don't know. Life is serious.
Yeah, we actually have some serious history going on that's inherited in us. But anyway, so it's a big adjustment and also like English, right? Like when we studied in school and social media and internet wasn't that popular. Nowadays people learn English from internet. And I struggled with my English when I moved to the States. How was your experience in adaptability?
Oh, I definitely struggled. Like being out of high school at 4 years, like, and then coming in and like, oh my God, now I have to study
Mm-hmm.
half of the world's words. I have no idea what they mean. So I have to like Google Translate like everything what the professors are talking about. And then like coaches like using different slangs because like even playing professionally, yes, like they speak to me in English, but it's like such a basic English. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
this, that, whatever. And then like coaches
Shoot.
using all these like slangs and I'm like, I have no idea what you meant. So I'm just like standing here and watching. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely like an adjustment. And it was like definitely hard because my teammates kind of made fun here and there about my English. So like
Mm-hmm.
I just got like in my own shell and like didn't speak up enough. And like
Yeah.
in my first year, I was a point guard, so like my job is to speak and like lead the team. So it was definitely like complicated in some situations when it came to basketball and English.
So was the first year already like you crushed it and it was super good, or there was like a transitioning year where you had the click and yes, now I'm playing my game and it's the best?
So my first year was really different than all my other 4 years because I came in as a point guard and I have
Mm-hmm.
never played really point guard back home or ever. I was just always like a two guard, three guard, shooting guard, like wherever they put you in a corner and you just stand there kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where like here I come and I have to lead this team and they had their standards and they're like, no, this year we're winning Can West. And like at that point it was CIS, so like we're winning CIS. Like there is no way out like this year. And I'm like, wow, that's a high achievement. So I was like, can we really do that? Like I was like, I don't know. But yeah, like we won our nationals, we won our Canvas in my first year. Um, we did have our like two leading scorers. I was probably like coming in third behind
Mm-hmm.
them because as a point guard, like you just don't always like
It's
get the
not
ball back.
priority,
Like
yeah.
yeah, it's not your job really on the court. Um, but it was definitely like I loved playing point guard. I really enjoyed it. So it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of sad when coach in the second year, she was like, "Nope, you're too good of a shooter, so you're like moving him aside. You're now leading the teams." I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Which probably was a good move in terms of like you bringing more points to the team. But yeah, Sabine's team was like always winning championships, and we had this one. It was like finals, right? Like or semifinals,
It
but
was semis, yeah.
it was such a close game. We almost got you, almost, but we
Yeah.
didn't. Um, okay. Um, if you had to compare coaches in Canada, more and European coaches, even like in Latvia, the coaches we got, like there's definitely a difference. Maybe you can like tell a few differences and which one you would prefer or what you like about that.
Oh, my coach was definitely really, really different what I have ever experienced, like playing with like sports schools and like professionally. She never yelled, she never raised her voice. Like she always had like she's really calm and composed.
Mm-hmm.
She had her moments, but that was not like her like usual self.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like really different. I remember in my first year, I went even to her office and I was like, "Can you yell at me? I just don't know how to play that nobody's yelling at me."
Mm-hmm.
Like it just doesn't motivate me because I was so used to being so angry at the coaches because they're so mean sometimes to you, like when you
Mm-hmm.
play pro and like even in a sports school. Like I didn't have the nicest coaches and it was always males. She was the first female like I have ever played for.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like really, really different. And I remember her answer, she's like, "No, I will never yell at anybody. I will never disrespect my player like that." So that was like
Wow.
really different.
Mm-hmm. So Canada gives you 5 years of studies, right, in university?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was there any time you wanted to call it quits? Like you wanted to just give up, go back home, not play anymore, perhaps?
Probably after my first year. First
Mm,
year was really hard to adjust. I was half foot in the university and half foot out because my grades in high school wasn't like the best, so I wasn't straight admitted in university. So I had to start with the language center and then like have online classes and I really struggled with online
mm-hmm.
as like English was already so complicated and then like reading on your own and studying on your own, that was just like in a different dimension for me, like in my first year. And in general, like I feel like all the adjustments and like trying to survive and like sometimes not have something to put on a table to eat. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
some weeks where you just eat rice and you go and practice and you have no energy because you just like that's what it is to
Yeah.
adjust to a different country when you try and survive. Um, Definitely first year that was where I was like, oh my God, I might go home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Mm.
I can survive this.
Yeah, good thing we went to tournaments and they would have team meals, right?
Yeah.
Then you can have something more than rice.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. that's why Canada is it's such a good experience to like play in. Like it's you just enjoy basketball. But if you're international and you don't have that family support financially or any other way to make money, it's a struggle.
Yeah,
But you can make it work. You know,
you
like you
can.
survived, you did it,
Yeah. You just
you're
have to
still here.
find your way in. Like, just don't give up after the first year. Like, the first year
Mm-hmm.
is always the hardest, just finding your own way. And like, I was the first international player Huskies have ever had. So they had no
Mm.
idea what to do, how to help. So I had to
Did you
figure
ask
it
for
out
help?
all on my own.
You didn't ask for help, yeah?
I did, but they just
Mm.
didn't know how and what they can, like, because it's out of their hands to help me with food money or rent money because they can't. Like,
Mm-hmm.
legally, the club is not allowed to help me. They
Mm-hmm.
can help me with everything else, like some living expenses and
Mm-hmm.
schooling, but they can't give me food money. It's just not in their,
Rules, yeah.
yeah,
I know. Another thing that North America, like Canada, US, they really go by rules. In Europe, we are a little bit more
yeah,
laid back in terms of rules, so I know what you mean. My situation was a bit different because I was in grad school. So when you're a graduate student, they pay you way more money from graduate assistantships, not like the team. Team just
yeah,
covered my school, but I got like paid as a teacher assistant and research assistant from my supervisor, who was basically in my master's thesis supervisor. So I wasn't sure until like last minute if I'm coming to Canada because I wasn't sure if I can financially afford to come. And once I saw that letter offer from like my grad studies, it just said 23,000. But at that time, I thought like, oh, that's a lot of money. And then I was working also like part time as well, a little bit when I could, and summer jobs for
yeah,
sure, like basketball clinics and stuff. So you make it work. You can
yeah,
definitely make it work. But I think the best opportunity is that for some players, they are playing professionally. Maybe their career is not going well, or maybe they wish they could study but still play at high level. Like Canada is such a good opportunity. And right now, you have finished your school. I have finished my school, but we are still in Canada
yeah,
because I guess we like it.
yeah,
It's pretty nice country, and immigration is way better compared to US. Like Sabine just got her permanent residency. Well, finalizing,
yeah.
but congrats. That's a big relief.
Oh, it
So you
is,
can
yeah.
stay in Canada as much as you like. Are you thinking about getting a citizenship?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
just easier, and then you don't have to deal with immigration at all anymore. You have a passport, you're a dual citizen. It's just so much easier and less expensive than renewing your visas and going through the same process and waiting for months and months. And
Yeah.
there's just some complications always, and like health card and healthcare and all of that. Like,
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm going through the same thing.
yeah.
Um, Do you have any regrets about moving to Canada?
No, I think if I wouldn't have moved, I wouldn't have played anymore. So I'm really
Mm,
happy that I made that decision and I made the big move and I pushed it through my first year and I stayed in it. And definitely like there was a lot of support that like I got from like my team and some like parents and stuff like that. So,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know, I just like never felt like I would after my second, third year that I would even want to go home anymore. Like this was my home.
Have you changed like as a person? Do you think like being in different country, seeing different mentality where coaches don't yell at you and don't discriminate and stuff like that? Like, have you changed as a person? Has it affected you positively?
I would think so. I'm definitely like a happier person that I was. I'm definitely less hard on myself. I definitely learned more about like mental health and like the psychology of like your mind and like how to combine that with basketball in a healthier way that I used to and like not punish myself, but
Mm-hmm.
actually like work on my visualization and just like work on my skills and not get too frustrated with myself. So it helped me in basketball and helps me in life now, being
Mm-hmm.
more calm and like less self-criticizing.
Yeah. Nice. Your coach was I mean, she's a national team coach in basketball for women's team, right? So,
Yeah, not anymore. She's actually Germany's national team coach now.
yeah, so she
Yeah.
moved for good. Okay, but
She's still here, but she's just doing the national team. She got them to the next stage. So
amazing. And so, what do you think, like personally, and from a maybe like a psychological perspective, do you think players play better when they get yelled at and trashed down and put on the bench after one mistake, or with some praises and more positive feedback from coaches?
I think the positive feedback is better. There's always like, of course, there will be some criticism, but like you can make the criticism in a positive way. Like you don't always have
Mm-hmm.
to yell at somebody. You can explain why you're saying and why I'm making these mistakes in a positive way. And that's definitely like what Lisa did a lot of times. Like, you really don't have to be mean and rude to somebody or like punish them to sit on a bench.
Mm-hmm.
You can explain what you see and hope that the player takes it in and like brings their best game. Because I feel yelling does not always bring the best game out. It brings an angry game, but it doesn't
Yeah.
bring the best game out.
Yeah, for sure. And it definitely affects players' confidence level.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, do you have any like any comment or encouragement to young athletes or someone just playing basketball and not being sure about what would be the next step? Do you have anything to say to them who are listening?
I would suggest to just like not give up. And if you're struggling as a player, definitely work on your mind game because basketball is like 90% mind and 10% physical.
Mm-hmm.
I, the old game is not like where everything was physical. Now, smarter you are, calmer you are, you will be a so much more better player and as a person as well. Like you will grow so much more and just like don't give up. Like there will be always ups and downs. It's you're an athlete. It happens. You want to improve. You will have such a low hits where like you will fully walk in the dirt and you will be
Mm-hmm.
like, why can't I show this? Like why can't I do this? It will come. Like it just needs time.
Yeah, it's work in process.
Yeah.
One thing though that I wanted to talk a little bit about injuries. So I remember like when we played the national team, like in youth, you had the shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Any other injuries
I
like
actually had both shoulders done.
surgeries?
Yeah. uh I started dislocating my right one when I was age 13.
Hmm.
Actually in my first year when I moved away from my family. And then I tore my left one in my second year in Canada. Just one thing, one practice, and I needed a surgery.
And after the surgery, how was the rehab and recovery? How quickly you got back?
For my left one, I recovered pretty quickly. I was back in less than 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I rushed my recovery because I was asked to come and try out for a women's national team in Latvia, and I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of rushed it. I wasn't 100% when I got back to
I think
Latvia
it
and
was the
like
same
tried out.
here.
Yeah. So like it was kind of unfortunate like circumstances with it, but like I was glad that I got to try out and I
Mm-hmm.
got back.
Mm-hmm.
It took some adjustments for sure after the surgery, like not trusting the arm as much because like you feel like it's moving around a little bit. So like I definitely had to lift like more than my teammates had to keep them strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I needed surgery on my right one as well, but it wasn't like urgent. So like I didn't do both at the same year. I just
Mm-hmm.
waited out till my end of fifth year to do my second shoulder.
So after the basketball season, you did your shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
I remember you always were like using the those
Oh yeah,
on
with
the
the elastic
side
bands. Yeah.
elastic bands, yes, before practices or like games. And
Yeah.
that's something to take into consideration. Like you always worked on it, you always did your part to make sure your shoulder was as good as it could be.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people lack that mentality that they have to do this rehab, they have to do this recovery, and even when everything is fine, you still have to work on your whatever injury you had. You have to still strengthen it.
Oh,
So
for
good
sure.
job. That was a good example.
Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, you are the one who's hurting from the injury. Nobody else is. And if like
Mm-hmm.
you want to perform and you want to play and like not be in pain, you do have to put that work in. Like it's not always fun and like you don't want to do it, but you're the one who's gonna be hurting. So it's you choose pain or you choose a bit more workout. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's discipline and commitment and motivation.
yeah.
Did you ever struggle with motivation, like self-motivation? Or you've been always pretty disciplined in that term?
Uh, I don't think it ever came easy. I don't think it's ever easy to discipline and like do it. I still skipped workouts and I still got hurt. There was like always like you bump into it and then you're like, this is for me, not for anybody else. So then you pick
Mm-hmm.
yourself up again and you get back to it. But I don't know, like you, for me, like I always had some falls like on the way of like my career.
Mm-hmm. But you get back up.
Yep.
If you had to do everything over again, like let's say you're a 13-year-old girl moving to Riga, playing basketball, would there be some times, or would you do anything differently, or like do something additionally? Like, would you do any change in your basketball career or approach or training, anything?
I've really wished that like in Europe, mental game would be like appreciated more.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to Canada, that was definitely something that like I had to learn. Like I just was so interested in it that I wanted to learn. And it
Mm-hmm.
improved my game so much and like helped myself not being in a healthy way where like being a 13-year-old and not eating or like going and working out till like it hurts. Like it's not a healthy way of improving myself and my game, right? So I wish that like coaches or like even the world would be more exposed to like the mental game and like the mental practice because it's a game changer at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day.
What changed in you in terms of mentality, like when you played in Canada? Like, what were different mentality approaches? Or maybe you mentioned visualization you have
Yeah.
used. Is there anything else that helped you?
That was definitely like my main one. I visualized a lot of my mistakes because I have always been like really hard on myself. And
Mm-hmm.
then if I ever injured myself, those were the times when I usually like because I'm in so much pain, I would not eat where like I tried to treat myself and like know that like no, I'll go to physio, I will like have appropriate like nutrition because
Mm-hmm.
like not eating is not healthy and it doesn't recover your injury. So like finding the ways like healthier nutrition, this will bring me up faster, going and like actually asking for help and like reaching out for exercises and like just like staying out of the unhealthy stuff. And that
Mm-hmm.
all I felt was just like learning mentally.
Mm-hmm.
about like how to be healthy and how to be nice to yourself.
Yeah, and one of the things I definitely have noticed is when you play the best, not only you, everyone, you play the best when you feel free, like you're just enjoying the game and not having too much pressure on yourself or from the coaches. You're just free. You're just enjoying your sport. I think that was something I could see in you, like when you were playing. Obviously, there was situations when, I don't know, you mess up something or I mess up something and
Yeah.
we get upset, but in general, like just happier person on the court was definitely helping to perform better. Do you think that was big part because of the coaches?
In some ways, I definitely like reached out to mental health
Mm,
during my 5 years in Huskies, and we actually got our own mental health coach as well with Huskies and all the athletics. So that
mm-hmm,
was kind of nice that that was like accessible. So as I was interested to that, I definitely signed up and I wanted to go and like I wanted to talk and I wanted to see what they can suggest and like what
mm-hmm,
kind of like code like stuff they give you to do, right? Like it's just like, oh,
mm-hmm,
write this down, write what you think, your angry thoughts, but like always like compliment yourself about
mm-hmm,
something as well and just
mm-hmm,
like working on that more positive mindset that definitely like helped. Coaches here and there, like it's like nice when they don't yell at you and like they can encourage you,
mm-hmm,
but I feel it's still like a lot on your own. Like it's something that you have to decide to do and you have to want to improve yourself at the end of the
mm-hmm.
day when it comes to mental game. So I wouldn't say you can't rely on somebody else for something like that.
Yay, good job. That's exactly right. Because you can't control what someone else is going
No.
to tell you. It's all about you, how you perceive and how you deal with it. It's
Yeah.
all on you, and which is good. It's a good thing that you can control your life and
Oh, for
mindset
sure.
and everything. Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't think I have anything else to ask. This was very good. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your time. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I appreciate your time and I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.